Hey, what's happening? This is your host Tinto, and this week I'm not starting with any music because I really want to take this moment to celebrate 250 episodes of the Feeling Station. Combination of family breakups, friendship breakups, romantic breakups, you name it, all giving really solid, valuable lessons to each one of you that have come through on this journey. I really want to say thank you. We're sitting on 2 million downloads and streams worldwide. Our top 10 episodes are episode 236, which is Rock and Hard Place, episode 202, Trapped, Washed and Broken, episode 228, Dr. Dick, episode 242, which is the Chapter Zero Effect Part 1, episode 231, The OG Gaslighter, episode 241, I Call Him Idiot, episode 233, This is Chaos, episode 151, Is 20 Enough? That's a wild one. Episode 243, The Chapter Zero Effect Part 2, and last but not least, which is in the top 10, episode 245, which is We Getting Married. And I really can't thank you guys enough. And if I'm to think about the top 10 countries, Zimbabwe, you're right up there as number one. Then I've got the UK, the US, South Africa, Australia, Kenya, Canada, Germany, Poland, Nigeria, and the UAE. This journey has been nothing short of amazing, absolutely phenomenal. And listen, all I just wanted to say is thank you for 250 episodes of The Feeling Station, 2 million downloads and streams worldwide. If you want to give to support and celebrate with me, go over to www.buymeacoffee.com/feeling station and give as your spirit leads. And always remember, there is nothing too small to support this great, great, great podcast that you've grown to love. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for 250 episodes.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here. On the Feeling Station.
Hello.
Hello, what's up?
Hi, Tinto.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right. Welcome to the Feeling Station.
Thank you.
For those listening to this podcast for the first time, it's a romantic family and friendship breakup podcast showcasing stories that people would like to talk about with the view to give you lessons from their experiences. Now, I hope you find today's story entertaining, but more importantly, meaningful. And as you already know, the podcast is really popular for two main reasons. The first being I do my best to keep my guests anonymous by giving them a name from the African continent that they'll use for the duration of the episode. Are you ready for your name, my friend?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You don't really sound ready. Are you ready for your name, my friend?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. So I've gone over to Somalia and your name is Nura, which is Nura. And what that means is light.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I like that.
Yeah, so I guess you'll be shedding some light on what on what happened with your story, and then hopefully everybody will be enlightened by the end of your episode.
Yes, hopefully.
And what name are you giving the person you're talking about today?
So I decided to go with the name Jonasi.
Okay. Oh, Jonasi. Man, I got my childhood best friend is called Savimbi Jonasi. You know, so
really?
Yeah, this is in memory of you, Bonsi Jonasi Savimbi, if you're listening. Right, and why did you pick Jonasi, your full names?
So there's this book by Sunyati called The Polygamist.
Ooh, okay, right. Say less. Say less. Say less. And the second reason why the podcast is really popular is there real life lessons that people walk away with from the story that you're going to share. So what would you like anybody listening to your episode to walk away with today?
Okay, so I have 5 lessons.
Uh-huh.
The first lesson is never jeopardize your relationship with the Lord for a man. You're laughing.
Yeah, because God says thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Yeah.
So so you're saying don't jeopardize your relationship with the Lord for another man.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Number 2?
Number 2 is you can't go back to the same person that hurt you repeatedly and expect them not to do it again.
Oh, 100%. I really like that one. Number 3?
Mm-hmm. Number 3 is listen to your friends and family when they give you advice.
Uh-huh.
Number 4 is do not compromise your values or lose yourself in the process of trying to love another person.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then the last one is never settle. There's always better out there.
Hopefully. Okay, let me play those back. Number 1, never jeopardize your relationship with the Lord for another man. Number 2, you cannot go back to the same person that hurt you repeatedly and expect them not to do it again. Number 3, listen to your friends and family when they give you advice. Number 4, do not compromise your values or lose yourself in the process of trying to love another person. And number 5, never settle. There's always better there out there. There's always better out there for you.
Yes.
Cool. Nura, tell me where you met Janasi and why you decided to give him a chance with you.
So I met Janasi on a dating app. In my first year of varsity. And I decided to give him a chance because, I came across his profile and he was my type. He was tall, he was light skinned. I liked his sense of style. And I don't remember what his bio was at the time, but it caught my attention. It seemed like he was really funny and open, and I liked that.
Right.
So obviously I swiped right, and then we matched shortly after and we started talking. So we exchanged numbers and then we started getting to know each other. So yeah, we were just texting, getting to know each other for a couple of days, and then he called me for the first time. And when we spoke, it was like I had known this person for years. We got along, we connected. I think we had a lot of chemistry. And he was really, really funny. Like, he made me laugh. So I was giggling, and we actually spoke for like 6 hours that day. Yeah, he was a very open person in the beginning. So we got into a routine of like talking every day. We were texting, and from then on, like, he was calling me regularly. And as we were talking and getting to know each other, he's telling me about his family and how he lives with his dad. His mom remarried because their parents are separated. His parents are separated.
Right.
So yeah, and then I also shared that my parents are also separated. My dad remarried, so we had that in common.
Right.
Yes. And so we bonded over things like that. And actually, at the time, I was struggling to adjust to university. And I was actually seeing a therapist, and my therapist wanted me to start taking antidepressants.
Do you mind sharing why you were struggling, or that's too personal?
I don't mind sharing.
Yeah, why were you struggling to settle?
I don't know. It was just hard being so far away from home. Felt like I was starting afresh, and that was quite challenging for me. And also, I was having a hard time making friends, which is also why I resorted to the dating apps as well, because some of my friends had suggested it. And so, yeah, it was just a really dark time. I missed home. I missed my friends. And I was also very insecure about the degree that I was in. I felt like I didn't belong there. So yeah, that's just basically what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, over time, talking to Jonasi, I opened up to him about that. And, he told me that he's actually on antidepressants.
Oh.
And he's taking medication for ADHD. So obviously I shared my concerns, and, he shared his experience with that. And he even like offered to go with me to the clinic because I had to do like a whole psych evaluation. And so he was very kind about it. So we connected over things like that, you know. And so we're obviously getting closer, but you know, everything is mostly over the phone. And then we decided that we would like to see each other in person. So I no, I shouldn't have done this, but I went to his place the first time we met in person.
So, two questions.
Hmm.
Who initiated the in-person conversation, you or him? I know you agreed to it somehow, both of you, but somebody would have been like, hey, why do we meet up? Which one of you two was it?
So it was me that initiated it.
So you initiated the let's meet up and then you went to his first.
Hmm.
Girl. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So I got to his place and he looked a lot better than he did in the photos. Yes. I was very, very nervous at first, and obviously I'm having my doubts, second thoughts, like, is this a good idea? But he was very welcoming, he was very kind and very respectful as well, which I liked. So I got there in the afternoon and we basically spent the whole day together. So we were just cuddling, watching movies, talking.
Wait a minute.
No.
Okay. Yeah, okay, right. Let me not
What do
ask.
you have?
No,
Oh,
no. It's okay. It's okay. Look,
okay.
if there's chemistry, it's only natural to do stuff like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So that's when we kissed for the first time.
Why do you sound like like you're smiling when you say that?
I am.
Are you remembering what that kiss was like or something? What's going on?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Jonasi told me that he likes me on that day. And I obviously told him that I feel the same way. And that's basically all that happened.
But I thought it was obvious you liked each other.
I know, but ish, he said it explicitly on that day.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
So then I left in the evening and we were still talking over the phone, and he just basically mentioned that he really enjoys my company. So now he's planning for us to see each other again and everything like that.
Did he by any chance pay for your transport to come to him?
Yo, no.
Did he offer at least?
I thought he would. So I went to his place, I paid for my transport, and as I'm leaving, I was hoping he would say, no, let me pay for your Uber, but he didn't offer.
Okay.
So ish.
Yeah, nah. Okay.
I just, yeah.
Food, because you were chilling out there the whole day, did he make you something?
Yes.
Did he order you something?
He did make me something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
He
Yeah.
made me lunch.
All right.
So yeah. So yeah, I got back to my place. We're still talking over the phone. I think that was on a Friday or so. And then during the week, I remember he went MIA on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. Like he just went completely offline. And I was very confused because it was very unlike him. And this is someone I've been talking to every day. So I'm trying to understand like what's going on, The weekend comes by, I still don't hear back from him. And then at this point, like I'm getting concerned. Like, is this person actually okay? Did something happen? Did their phone get stolen? And then Sunday morning, I get a text from Jonasi. And he's like, hey, I'm so sorry for disappearing on you, but you and I, we need to talk. So this is the first message I've seen when I wake up. So obviously I'm like, you know. So I'm like, of course we can talk. And he's like, can I call you? So I'm like, okay. So he calls me and he sounds very anxious or nervous over the phone. And I can hear that like he's pacing up and down. So I'm like, Jonasi, like, what's going on? You sound anxious, you know? And he's like, yeah, well, I don't know how you're going to take what I'm about to tell you. And he's like, and I'm like, okay, just tell me. And so he's like, the reason why I've been offline is because I went out with my cousins. We were drinking, and I blacked out. And he started off by saying, I'm not a hoe, but I have hoe tendencies. And I was like, that basically makes you a hoe. Do you realize that?
You know.
And he was like, no, it's not the same thing. Like, it's different. I was like, okay.
Okay.
So then he tells me that he saw this girl at the club and he was like, I like to flirt with other people from time to time. So this girl, they were flirting and apparently they kissed at the club. He says he doesn't remember because he blacked out, but that's what happened. So obviously hearing this, I'm very shocked and I'm trying to process, you know, how I feel about this. And so I'm quiet over the phone and he's getting worried about the silence over the phone. And then I just remember I asked him, like, why are you telling me this? Because you realized that there was no way I was going to find out. Like, I don't know who you went out with. You could have just come back and just kept quiet about it and we could have moved on. And he's like, no, I'm telling you because I want you to make an informed decision. If me kissing another girl at the club is a problem or whatever, no.
The audacity of testing the waters to see how much more bullshit you can take from the onset.
Yo,
Nura,
I should have left.
Your name means light. Enlighten us on what you said in that moment. What was your answer to that?
I didn't say anything because I was shocked.
What? Okay.
So Jonasi is actually like, can we have this conversation in person, Nura? Because you're silent over the phone. I want to be able to at least read your facial expressions, your body language, and just understand how you feel about this. So Nura decides, okay, I'll come and see you sometime during the week and we'll talk about it. Right. But I also mentioned that I've got a lot of schoolwork, so I'm not sure if I can stay long or if I can spend a lot of time with you. He's like, no, actually, you know what? You can come with your books to my place. We'll have this whole conversation and we'll even study together. So okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm only saying this because how are you expected to study when someone is telling you that they've been lip-syncing somebody else? How is your brain meant to compute that and you actually study?
I don't know, but it made sense to me at the time.
Okay.
So I packed my school bags. And I told myself, like, I'm going to study, I promise. I went there. He grabbed my bags. He put them aside and he grabbed my hands and he led me into his bedroom. And so he's like, don't you want to make out with me before we start studying? And so I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, you know, and I give in that moment. One thing leads to another. My clothes are off, his clothes are off, and we had sex for the first time. We didn't use protection, and he didn't pull out.
Yeah.
So
Yo.
there's a lot going through my mind at this point.
I've just heard the meme that goes, "There's a lot going on here." That's literally why I was chuckling, because I was playing that in my head.
There was a lot going on.
Let's just walk what was going through your mind. I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm assuming wrong. You're assuming I like this guy, but he just told me something that I don't know how to deal with. Now I've arrived, and at the opportunity that I think we're going to talk about stuff, something new is happening. Did you have a mental debate to either go ahead with going to the bedroom or not? Because I don't know. Just walk me through what was going through your mind.
So I really liked Jonasi.
Yeah.
But, I hadn't really thought about, sleeping with him or anything like that. It hadn't really crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So, considering the fact that we had kissed before and nothing happened, I guess I assumed it was going to be like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that time it just got really, really heated. And at the back of my mind, it's also this conversation that we still need to have about the other girl. So it was just a lot. And then I also had to think about the fact that now I need to get a plan B. So we were cuddling afterwards. And then that's when we had this whole conversation about this other girl. He explained the whole situation again. And, I basically mentioned that, like, you and I, we both haven't really had that whole conversation of, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? So I don't know if I have the right to be upset about this because I'm not your girlfriend.
You should be thinking if you have the right to be having sex with him.
Yo.
And then unprotected sex.
I know.
And then possibly having a child. The priorities were not aligned.
Clearly. Clearly. So then Jonasi's like, yeah, no, I understand. I think you and I, we should just go with the flow. And I'm like, okay. And because I was under the impression that, okay, this happened when he was very drunk. And I assumed that he was not in contact with this girl or anything. So I let it slide. And then, I mentioned the whole plan B thing. And he said he doesn't have money for that. So I was like, okay, you know what, I'll pass through the pharmacy on my way home and I have to get myself a plan B. So after that, we decided to start studying, but I couldn't start because
obvious.
I was so stressed.
Right.
So then eventually I decided, okay, you know what, let me go. All right. So I say goodbye. I pass through the pharmacy. I get my plan B. And I get home and I'm just like immediately hit with like regret,
Yeah.
Like, what have I done? And at that point, I spoke to some of my friends about it. And obviously they were like, Chumi, like, Winzan, like, what are you doing? And, immediately I just felt like, okay, I don't think this is going to work out with this guy. So a few days later, I'm really starting to experience the side effects of this plan B. It just felt like my emotions were all over the place and I started bleeding at some point and like I just didn't understand what was going on with my body at the time. And I felt like I couldn't talk to Jonasi about it because it was almost as if he thought I was being dramatic about what was going on.
What would make you think that unless it's once made you feel like you're being dramatic about something?
Because, it's just, okay. The thing is, we spoke about this a few months later, and he told me that, like, I didn't want to say it at the time, but it felt like you were being dramatic. So I guess that's why I said that.
Okay. Right.
But yeah, he was a bit dismissive as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, we stopped talking as much. I just had a lot on my plate, and he also, like, at that point, so Jonasi hadn't spoken to his mom in months. That's why he was staying with his dad. So they got into a huge fight a few months ago and packed his bags and decided he wants to stay with his biological dad. And they haven't spoken since. So at that point, the mom had recently reached out. And so they were trying to work things out. The mom wanted him to come back and live with him again, live with her again.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Jonasi is working things out with his mom, he tends to like isolate.
Mm-hmm.
So he also started to like drift away. So at this point, him and I are not talking as much because of what he's going through, what I'm going through. I'm worried about possibly being pregnant. I don't understand what's going on with my body. And I still have to deal with school on top of that.
Yo.
So eventually, my period came. So the plan B worked.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I told Jonasi about it. And a few days later, he told me that he's going back to live with his mom. So at that point, we just both decided, okay, you know what, like, he did mention he's not very good at long distance. And he's never really been a fan of it. So we just decided, okay, it's not going to work out.
There's no we.
Oh,
Who decided that?
I'm not sure. I would like to say it was a mutual decision.
I think it was him.
You think it was him?
Because one, he's already told he's got hoe tendencies. So what would stop him from
Yes.
saying I'm not good with long distance? So that if you decide to go ahead with the long distance, it's on you when he then engages in his hoe tendencies. So I think you were basically told I'm not doing long distance, but you liked him so much, you're like, okay.
I think so, because I did that a lot.
Because you tell me what was your reason for saying long distance is not good if you're saying it's mutual. What was your reason?
Actually, you're right. No, I did want to try the long distance thingy.
So had you just forgotten or?
I just assumed it was a mutual decision because I agreed to it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said you wanted to try it. Did you tell him you wanted to try it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I just figured it was best if I let him go. Or at least try to.
Right. Okay.
So Jonasi leaves and goes to stay with his mom. His mom stays like kilometers away from where I'm studying. And so, I'm obviously grieving the relationship, situationship. I'm trying to move on. And at this point, I've got exams coming up, so I'm just trying to focus on that. And then Jonasi calls me. He video calls me, and it's as if, everything is perfectly fine between him and I. And it just so happens that now he starts like texting me consistently, calling me every day, and it's giving long distance relationship at this point. And then this one day, he just went quiet. And obviously, I'm now used to this little routine. I'm I don't want to say upset, but yes, I was hurt. And then he calls me that day in the evening. It was a video call. He could see that I was upset. And he's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "You and I, we've been talking every day for past couple of weeks, and then now all of a sudden you've just gone quiet. Like, do you understand why that would make me upset?" And he's like, "No, I don't understand because I don't talk to my family members every day. So," and I was like, "Yo," I felt like this person doesn't get it, you know? And I tried to explain, and didn't seem to understand what the big deal was. And I basically told him, like, he did say, like, "I told you that I don't want to do long distance and whatnot."
You see? This is exactly what I thought you'd be saying. Yeah.
And then, so he suggested that we be friends because he's not giving me what I want. And then I told him, "I don't think that you and I can be friends, Jonasi, because I have feelings for you.
Yes, Nura.
So it's either we're doing this or
Oh, you're
what?
not.
I don't want to be friends." And he's like, "Okay." So we stopped talking after that whole conversation. And I wrote my exams. I went home for the holidays. And this was around November. So we didn't talk for the rest of the year.
Did you pass?
Yes, I passed.
Thank
Oh,
God. Thank
by the
God for
grace of
that.
God.
Thank God for that. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yes. So yeah, I go home for the holidays. I wasn't talking to Jonasi, but we're still mutuals on social media. So he's still viewing my statuses, and I can still see what he's posting. And I feel like that got me stuck because it got to a point where now I was also starting to post things deliberately for him to see. And so essentially I was having a really hard time letting him go.
When he posted what he was doing, was it stuff that would make you jealous?
Well, he would mostly post like memes and basically like spending time with his family over the holidays. That's really what he would post about. So
Okay,
it wouldn't be
yeah.
like I was jealous, but yeah.
Right. Okay.
So then, this is so embarrassing, Tinto.
Yeah, go for it.
New Year's came around, and Nura decides to Happy New Year her way back into Jonasi's life.
Via text message.
Yes.
Happy New Year, Janasi.
Yes. Happy New Year,
Wish you a
Jonas.
fantastic New Year and what.
Yes.
Okay.
And it worked, sure. It worked because he called me and we spoke for a very long time over the phone. And like I said, talking to this person was easy. And we were just basically catching up. It was almost as if we hadn't been in no contact.
Hey Feelers, allow me to interrupt you just for a few seconds to remind you that Note to Feelers is a weekly publication from me where I talk about really, really deep stuff. And so far we've done episodes like lying can be healthy and how the modern dating power dynamics have changed because men want to be chosen too. And more recently, I've done publications about consistency being a trap and 5 signs that your relationship could be over. If these are interesting to you and you want to be a part of the Deep Feelers crew, please click on the link in our bio and choose to receive the Note to Feelers publication every week. Trust me, you will enjoy this.
So yeah, at that point, he started with the texting again and the calling consistently until he just stopped. And obviously
Again,
that, again. That obviously made me feel some type of way. And at this point, I was also like getting ready to go back to uni now.
Interestingly, earlier on, you said you got used to
Mhm.
it, to him disappearing. But then,
Yes.
but then every time it happened, it made you feel a type of way. So you weren't really used to it, were you?
No.
So why did you say you were? What gives you comfort in saying you were used to it? Instead of just admitting I never got used to it.
I never got used to it. I don't want to admit it. But yeah.
Okay.
So we were talking inconsistently. He would call me one day, we would talk for hours, and then the next day he's quiet, like that. And I went to uni and I had moved into this new accommodation. And I remember I called him and we were basically talking as I was unpacking and everything like that, right? And it got to a point now where he started with the consistency again. And I think I was getting more and more attached because this is someone who I would talk to first thing in the morning and last thing at night, And then when I got to uni, I started going to church and, I decided I want to take my relationship with the Lord seriously. And I felt like my situationship with Jonasi was really pulling me back. And so I prayed the famous prayer, Lord, if Jonasi is not for me, take him out of my life.
Take this cup away from me.
Yes. And the Lord answered very quickly. Do not waste time, shame, because I think the following day I got this paragraph from Jonasi basically explaining that he feels like we should go back to no contact. Something along the lines of, it didn't really make sense to me, but something along the lines of, I just feel like I'm trying to work on myself and I can't do that whilst I'm talking to you because you are attached to a version of me that I'm trying to change.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm very hurt, but I prayed that prayer, My answer was staring at me, right? And so I actually didn't even respond to the message. I just left it like that, deleted the chats, but we were still following each other on Instagram. So he was still viewing my stories.
Okay, what was going on there? Why would you be able to remove him? Delete chats and all that, but you couldn't actually remove him? Or why were you having so much difficulty disconnecting from him?
I think I was hoping that he would come back.
Well, it's showing you that he can walk in and out.
Yes.
So why was that appealing to you? The only consistent thing here has been his inconsistency. Why were you drawn to inconsistency?
I don't know.
I mean, this is hindsight, right? So it's not in the moment. Hopefully you've had a bit of time to think about maybe why that was the case. If you haven't, it's okay, because we all take a bit of time to eventually understand what may have been going on with us in different parts in our lives. I look back at some of my relationships from a long time ago, and the penny's only just dropped now that, oh, that's what that was. So don't feel any pressure to actually find an answer to that question.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you just don't know, and it's okay to say that.
Yeah, no, the penny hasn't dropped yet. I have to be honest.
Okay, cool. Okay, we won't labor that point. Cool.
Okay. So, a few weeks go by. We haven't spoken. And then Jonasi replies to one of my stories on a random Monday, right? And we start talking again. And then I remember one of us, I don't really remember who, but one of us sent a reel about, I think he sent a reel about telling a white lie to your girlfriend or something because you don't want her to be upset. So now I'm like, Like, have you actually ever done this before? Like, have you lied to me about something? You know, and he's like, actually, yes, I have. And I was like, what did you lie to me about, Jonas? Tinto,
Mm.
do you remember when I told you that he kissed another girl at the
Yeah.
club?
Yes.
So the white lie is that it wasn't just a kiss.
Ah.
So this man proceeds to tell me that, yes, he did kiss her at the club. He got her number. He went home. And then the following day, he woke up, texted her, and he went over to her place and they slept together. And so the first thing I asked,
So where's the white lie there?
the white
I don't know where the white lie is.
the white lie is that it wasn't just a kiss, like he said.
Okay.
So the first thing I ask is, did you guys use protection? He says no.
Guys.
And I'm like, do you realize that you and I had unprotected sex days after? And I was like, you know, when you went MIA that whole weekend, I was worried about your well being. But you're telling me that you were busy getting rounds. Whilst I was concerned about your safety. And then you came to me and you lied about it. And if he had told me that he slept with someone else and had unprotected sex with someone else, I don't think I would have put myself in a situation where him and I are also having unprotected sex.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him all of this, and to him it's like new information. You know, he's like, you know, when you put it like that, it actually sounds really terrible. And I was like, did you not think about the fact that you were putting my health at risk? And he's like, well, I didn't have any symptoms or anything. So, and I was like, that's not how it works, you know? And I remember I blocked him on Instagram. And he called me the following day on WhatsApp. And he's like, hey, I noticed that you blocked me on Instagram. I understand why you did it, but like I just wanted to confirm, like, are you sure that you really don't want to talk to me anymore? And I was like, yes, because I don't think this is something that I can look past. You know, like just even the thought of you being intimate with another girl, it hurts my feelings. But also the fact that you lied to me about it and you put my health at risk, you know?
Yeah, that's a danger. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, no, I completely understand. And so we stopped talking from there. And so I blocked him on everything. And I was really, really heartbroken at this point. And I was just trying to move on with my life, trying to focus on school, my relationship with the Lord. And I had opened up to a few of my friends about the situation. And even this lady at church who was very supportive throughout everything.
Supportive of what?
Well, of me moving on from Jonas.
What about moving on from Janasi now or all along?
All along.
Okay.
Okay. So I think a month goes by. And then this one evening, I'm studying and I get a call from an unsaved number on my phone. So I answer. And the first thing this person says is, send your location.
A male or a female?
A male. And I'm like, huh? And he's like, send your location. And I'm like, Jonas, is that you? And he's like, yes. And he basically explains that he's a few hours away from where I'm studying. And he would like to see me. And he tells me that, I tried to reach out to you, I tried to call you, but I noticed that I've been blocked on everything. So I'm calling you from my brother's phone. And he's like, can you please unblock me so that we can talk? So Nura unblocks Jonasi. Jonasi calls, and Jonasi basically explains that he is working on his stepdad's farm, which is a few hours away from where I was. And one of the things that I said the last time we spoke, when I was just basically explaining why I don't want to continue talking to him anymore, I mentioned that I felt like life was pulling us apart because he was staying with his mom very far away from where I was, and I wasn't even sure when I was going to see him again. So this time around, Jonasi was like, you see, I'm a few hours away from you. I feel like life is pulling us together.
I see why you would give lesson number 4 that says do not compromise your values or lose yourself, because your value in that moment should have been good health. Like you value good
Yes.
health. That's why you blocked him.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking about distance. What happened there? What happened to blocking him because he put you at risk of a sexually transmitted illness that either could be curable or not curable? He put you at the risk of giving you a child that you're not prepared to have. So, help me understand why in that moment you're busy talking about distance versus the fact that he was irresponsible with his penis.
I mean, I did mention the whole irresponsibility thing. And then I mentioned the distance thing in the last conversation we had.
Is that the truth? Because it sounds to me like you've brought the distance thing ahead of the values thing. I'm just checking here. And there's no right or wrong answer, but I thought you'd have led with the thing that actually made you block him. Unless you're saying to me it was so obvious you didn't need to mention it again now.
Yes. Well, that's what I thought. That it was obvious. So Jonasi is basically saying that he wants to pursue a relationship. And obviously it's a lot for me to take in. Like, I haven't spoken to this person in a while, and now all of a sudden they're telling me that they're a few hours away, they want to work on a relationship with me. And so I was just like, give me time to think about it. And then he tells me that he's actually coming to my city where I stay for a funeral. And then he mentioned that he would like to see me. So then I tell him, okay, you know what? We can meet, but I don't want us to meet in my room. So I tried to suggest him and I possibly getting something to eat or like going to the movies, because he was suggesting that we watch a movie at my place. So, because I've been working on my relationship with the Lord, I didn't want a situation where Jonasi and I are behind closed doors, I give in, and him and I have sex again. So I'm basically trying to set that boundary. Like, if you want to see me, we have to go outside. And Jonasi is not having it. Like, he doesn't understand why it's such a big deal for him and I to be alone together behind closed doors. Probably because we've done it before, right? So when I suggested doing my groceries together, he was like, yeah, no, I can help you bring your groceries in and then we can watch a movie, And it just felt like he was really trying to push that boundary that I was trying to set. And he actually told me, like, I'm going to pursue you, like, I'm going to kiss you and I'm going to touch you because I want to. And at the end of the day, it's up to you to say no. Yeah.
And
So
when he said that,
I
what did you say to yourself and then say to him?
in that moment it just felt like I was in trouble. I told myself I am really in trouble here.
But I'm going to, go for the trouble. Stop it, I like it. Kind of trouble. Is that what you were saying to yourself? That's the kind of trouble I'm in.
No, it was just I just didn't understand why I had to be the responsible one. I don't know if that makes sense. I would think that if I'm telling you that I don't want us to meet behind closed doors, you would at least try and meet me halfway, and him saying that he's going to still touch me even though I've expressed my concern. Just felt like why is the burden all on me?
He was basically saying to you that I'm going to have sex with you unprotected and I've had it with other people, so I'm going to do the same thing that you say is valuable to you. He was making that very clear.
Yes.
So
And I did call him out on that. And I did say, I feel like you just want to have sex with me.
yeah, he did. And what did you say?
And he got very offended.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, no, that's not the reason why I want to see you. Like, why would you even say that, And he's like, actually, you know what? Because you say that, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to come over and we're not going to have sex.
Okay. Let's just talk about the relationship with God here. So, I would like to believe that during the course of you engaging God, pursuing God, and trying to put your position where your values are not compromised, whoever you're talking to, whether it was your minister or whatever messages were coming, might have referenced 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13, which says, no temptation has overtaken you except that which is common to man. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond more than you can bear. So, Nura, I will not let you be tempted with Jonasi beyond what you can bear. Nora, I won't, allow this guy to call you from a different number and you can't bear it. He's basically saying you can. And you've blocked him previously because you can. And then that verse goes a step further to say, but when you are tempted, which you are tempted right now, to let this guy come with you and watch a movie after we've done whatever, he will also provide a way that you can endure it. So he'll also give you a way that you can say no to this. So I really understand your lesson, and I want to pay respect to you and say thank you for sharing that, because you say lesson number one: don't jeopardize your relationship with the Lord for another man, and this is what was happening in this instance.
Definitely.
So, was it your emotional being that was louder than God, or it was your physical being that was larger than God, or it was both of them? Because I can almost guess you guys had sex.
We actually didn't have sex that night.
Did you sleep over?
Yes.
So you had it another night?
Yes.
Yo.
But that night, Jonasi had a point to prove.
Right.
Which is why we didn't.
So for you, you had an opportunity to prove a point too, that I've set a boundary to say you're not doing this because you've put me at risk before. So, help those listening understand what voice was bigger. Was it the physical voice that you want to be touched up? Was it the emotional voice that you wanted, to feel like you belonged to something? Or it was both? Or none?
It was mostly my emotions, my emotional being.
Okay.
Because I was worried about him and I getting physical. But I think my heart, I went with my heart, basically, because I really, really liked Jonasi and I wanted to see him. I wanted to spend time with him. And I remember just feeling very, I don't want to say conflicted, It was almost as if my spirit was grieving
Yeah.
in that moment.
Mm.
As he was telling me, because when I knew he was on his way, I just felt this huge amount of sadness, like my spirit was grieving.
Mm.
But he did come over, right? And we spent time together in my room. We kissed, we cuddled, we watched the movie, and he had to go. He had to leave early because he was there for a funeral.
Mm.
So he left for the funeral. And I remember just when he left, I felt very sad. Like I really missed this person. And I feel
Mm.
like the time we spent wasn't enough,
Mm.
And, him now working on a farm a few hours away, I don't even know when I'm going to see him again. So I was really, really sad about him leaving. And I think at that point, I started to realize that I'm actually falling for this guy.
How long had this been into your relationship that never was? And sorry to say it that way, because he told you we're
Yeah.
going with the flow, right? So
Yes, we were going with the flow.
yeah, so you were going with the flow.
Mhm.
So how far was this into your journey?
It was, I would say maybe like 9 months.
Long enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we spent a couple of months not talking either. So, yeah. After that, Jonasi and we started talking every day. At this point, he would call me in the morning, early in the morning as he was getting ready for work, and I would be getting ready for school. And, we'd be talking to each other, go about our days. We'd text throughout the day, and then at night, we'd call each other again. So Jonasi became my alarm at some point. He was the first person I spoke to in the morning when I woke up, and first person I spoke to at night. And at this point, my relationship with the Lord, I'm not praying as much as I used to. And I'm also feeling guilty about the fact that, I shouldn't be with this person, but I'm still talking to him.
So sorry to take this off on an off ramp, but what were you looking for with God? Whenever I've sought God, in most instances, is for Him to help me achieve something. And what tends to happen is once that happens, I kind of chill on the God factor a little bit. What were you looking for really from God? What did you want from Him?
Strength. Like I mentioned, there was a point where I was very depressed. I think I was looking for healing. And acceptance. So I feel like it got to a point where I was now sort of looking for that acceptance from Jonas.
Instead of from God.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might have been looking for all three. Because
Probably.
you clearly had no strength in terms of saying no to Him. And if you are asking God for that strength, that verse says you have the strength. But just like you said, your emotions, overpowered you on that front, so you'd give in. Then you're seeking healing. You did have a broken heart. You were really into this guy emotionally. You gave your all. You gave him physically stuff, and maybe you needed God to help you with the healing, to help move past him. You kind of got the strength when he told you that you had unprotected sex with somebody else, and you got a little bit of healing until your peace was disturbed by that phone call.
Yes.
As far as acceptance goes, I think the only thing that you had accepted from what you've said so far is the fact that he was inconsistent, and that you'd only turn up whenever he wanted to, and he would get whatever he wanted from you, and you would give him. So you had a level of acceptance, except that it was an acceptance of something that wasn't valuable or meaningful to you. And it always left you feeling sad The number of times you said, it left me feeling sad is important to mark.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think God's voice in that process was also trying to say to you, hey, my child, look, you can come back, but you're going to have to give up something.
Yeah.
Which should have been this man. But I praise you again because, just like you say in lesson number 1, never jeopardize your relationship with the Lord for another man. It's a really valuable lesson, and I'm glad that you're speaking about it so openly and transparently because it really makes the point hit home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jonas and I are still talking. There was this festival that I wanted to go to, right? And the friend that I wanted to go with told me that she couldn't make it, right? So I was upset about that because I didn't know who else would be interested in that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I spoke to Jonase about it, right? And then he's like, you know what, why don't you get back onto the dating apps and possibly look for someone to go with to the festival?
He suggested that?
Yes, he did.
Talk about setting you a trap.
I was obviously very confused. And I was like, wouldn't you feel some type of way about me going for this festival with someone I met on a dating app? And he's like, no, why would I? Isn't that how you make friends? And then he was like, actually, you know what? Maybe I should get on the dating apps. Because he mentioned something about looking for friends in the area that he was in. And then, so Jonasi used to joke about this whole polyamory thing, right? So polyamory, he wanted us to be in a relationship with another girl. So me and him and another girl, but the girl and I, we both like each other. So it's the 3 of us in a relationship. And he would joke about it a lot, and I would just brush it aside, because that obviously goes against my beliefs. And I just thought it was like, guys being guys or whatever, And then he then told me that maybe this is a good opportunity for me to look for a girlfriend for us on a dating app. And that's when it hit me that these jokes.
These jokes are not jokes.
This person is actually serious about what they are talking about. And that's when I started to notice it, right? So that conversation left me very drained because this person is okay with me going to a festival with someone I met on a dating app. They are now talking about downloading these dating apps and looking for a girlfriend. I did not take his advice. I didn't download the dating app, but the friend that I wanted to go with ended up telling me that she can make it.
Okay.
So we went together. I had fun. I sent Jonasi pictures and he's like, did you find a girlfriend for us at the festival? Obviously, I'm like, no, but, I just tried to brush it aside. So Jonasi and I are still talking. And then this one day he posts a status about a meme about a girl, right? But I could tell it doesn't apply to me, right? Because he mentioned something about being unimpressed with the girl that you're talking to. And things are going well between him and I.
What does that mean, going well?
Like we were on good terms. So I didn't understand why he was posting about being upset with the girl that he's talking to. So then I asked him, I responded to the status and I'm like, who are you talking about? Yo, Tinto.
Why would you do that, Nura? Because you already know what your guy is like. Yo.
I think you will see that I like to look for these things.
Nyana.
Oh, of course. Does this man proceed to say, remember when I told you that I was considering downloading the dating app? I actually did, and I met this girl, and that's who I'm talking about on my status.
Mm. Mm.
And he's basically telling me that he's planning a braai on the farm for month end. And he says that this girl is his booty call for the braai.
And where are you supposed to be in all of this whole mix? Are you meant to be part of this, or it's an FYI, so that you know that I'm actually fulfilling my whole tendencies that I've mentioned at the beginning of this?
So he tells me that he spoke to the girl and he told her about me because he's really serious about this whole polyamory thing. And so he tells me that, and he says the girl's okay with it. She said, let's go with the flow.
Mm.
And in that moment, I'm like, you know what, Jonathan, I can't do this. You know, like, I don't want to be in a polyamorous relationship with you. You know, I don't want another girl involved. And I remember I even asked, like, am I not enough? Like, why do you feel the need to involve someone else in our relationship? And he's like, no, it's not that you're not enough. It's just that I can love a lot of people. I have a big heart. But he said,
I have a big heart.
oh, so I decided to end things again. And I'm like, Jonas, yeah, like, I can't do this. If you want to do polyamory, you can go and do it with other people, but not me, you know? And he's like, no, it's okay. I understand and I respect your decision. And he was like, he called me his favorite lover.
His favorite lover.
His favorite lover.
Okay.
And he said, you know, if this whole polyamory thing doesn't work out, I want you to know that I will come back for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, what makes you think that I'll still be around for you to come back to? What if I'm in a whole nother new relationship? And he's like, I know that's a possibility, but I'm still willing to take that risk. And I was just like, okay, whatever. But if I don't want to do this whole polyamory thing, so we ended things there and I blocked him. A few weeks go by and like I'm blocking and unblocking him. So like I'm going to check his profile from time to time, but you know, like I'm having a really hard time standing on business. And I remember this one day I went to go check his profile and I noticed that his profile picture is gone. Mind you, like this whole time Jonas and I have been speaking, he's had the same profile picture. And now all of a sudden it's gone. So now I was worried because I was like, did this person block me? And in my head, it's like, I understand my reasons for blocking him, but you know, why did he block me?
Why does it matter? You still wouldn't be in touch. But why did you need to know?
It puzzled me.
Did you feel you're so out of control that being the one who blocked gave you some form of control over this guy? Did you feel you had lost so much of yourself you needed to hold on to something, and now that was starting to slip away because he's doing the exact same thing? Is that as in?
Yes, that's how I felt. So I actually unblocked him and then I texted him to check if he blocked him.
Nura.
And I was like, if he did block me, then at least I'll know and I can move on. Right?
Yeah, okay.
The message delivers. So he hadn't blocked me. Right? So when he sees the message, he calls me. And he's like, no, I didn't block you. My phone died, so I'm using a different phone now. And then he was like, why would it be such a problem if I blocked you? And I basically explained the whole thing. Like, I understand my reasons for blocking you, but I don't understand why you would want to block me. And he's like, I would block you because you don't want to do polyamory with me. So we started going back and forth, and I think at some point I told him, like, Jonathan, I think you're very selfish and inconsiderate. And that took him by surprise. He was like, I'm selfish. And I was like, yes. And that night we just agreed we'll go back to no contact, right? And
Nura, wait. You
yes,
you already had no contact. So what you mean you're going back to no contact? You were there already.
yes. Well, I mean, we were contacting again.
You contacted again.
Yes.
So what you mean we're going back to no contact when you were already at no contact before? What was going on? You missed him.
So, yes.
Okay.
Jonasi actually said he's going to block me this time around so that I don't reach out.
Bruh. Okay.
So I was like, okay. I went to sleep. I didn't block him because this person said he's going to block me. I wake up the following morning. Jonas is calling me.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says is, you know, when you called me selfish last night, it really hurt my feelings because I don't think I'm a selfish person.
It turned him on.
So then he proceeds to say, if you think I'm selfish, I'm going to show you what selfish is. And he's like, I want you and I'm going to pursue you as a selfish person. And, you know, he goes on to say, like, don't worry about who else I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Let's just live in our own little bubble. But essentially, the point that he was trying to make is that because I called him selfish, now he's going to show me what selfish is. And it's first thing in the morning.
Wait, did you agree to be shown that I'm really selfish?
No, I said, let me think about it.
So let me think about you being horrible to me. let me think about you treating me like shit.
Jonasi did not give me time to think about anything because he was texting me and calling me every day. And before I knew it, we were now back into our little routine of him being my alarm, calling me first thing in the morning, you know. At this point, I'm too ashamed to even talk to God about it or even talk to any of my friends about it. So no one really knows what's going on. I think I'm also starting to isolate myself a bit. And
Why is that?
I was ashamed.
Okay.
And then month end is slowly coming up. So this braai that Jonasi was talking about is coming up. And we haven't addressed the elephant in the room.
Which was?
The polyamory thing and his booty call for this braai. So the day of the braai comes up, Jonasi goes offline the whole day. And obviously I'm very sad because now I'm starting to think he's probably with that girl. The following morning comes and I have this really, really bad feeling, you know, and I call him and he answers, right? And he's like, and so I'm like, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm fine, but I can't talk right now. I have to go. And then he hangs up. So now I'm confused, like, what's going on? And then a few hours later, I get a text from him, right? And he's saying that something bad happened on the farm. He's on his way to my city. And he's like, can I pass through your place before I go home? And I'll explain everything that happened when I get there. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm worried about him because He said something bad happened on the farm. So he's updating me on his trip, and then eventually he gets to my place. Mind you, I'm not allowed to have visitors at my place.
By who?
The landlord.
Okay.
Yes, because it's like a student accommodation. But people still bring people over anyway. But it's just a rule, right? So yeah, Jonasi comes with all his bags from the farm. And then he explains that, they did have the braai. There was a lot of alcohol involved, and one of the workers called his stepdad, because it was his stepdad's farm, and told the stepdad that Jonasi is having a braai with his friends, there's alcohol involved, and he's making a lot of noise. So the stepdad arrives on the farm the following day, and Jonasi is supposed to be working, but he's sleeping because he's hungover and everything. And he was staying on the farmhouse. So the farmhouse was a mess, and there was alcohol everywhere. And so the stepdad got upset about that. And he tells me that some of his co-workers invited women over.
Right. Well, we're entering white lie zone again.
Yo. And I asked him, like, did that girl come over? And he's like, no. And then he tells me that his stepdad was very upset about the whole situation and actually hit Jonasi. So now Jonasi is showing me the bruises and everything. Obviously, I'm very concerned, like I care about this person, right? So then Jonasi spends the night at my place. He doesn't go home. Mind you, his family is waiting for him, right? And they're calling him. They're trying to figure out, where is this person? And he's ignoring the calls. So I'm asking him, like, are you sure you don't want to at least tell your family where you are? And he's like, no, I don't want to deal with it right now. I feel like he was running away from accountability at that point. But yeah, so he spent the night at my place, and then we spent the following day together. Mind you, I have exams coming up. We spent the following day together. He got me food for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very happy because at this point, like, I'm in love with this person. And he switches on his phone at some point. There are so many missed calls, Tinto, on Jonasi's phone. His family is very worried at this point, and they're trying to figure out, where is this person? And as he's going through, the messages and the missed calls, I'm seeing a lot of missed calls from this girl. I'll call her Lindani, right? Because that's one of the wives in the book, The Polygamist. So I'm seeing a lot of missed calls from Lindani, and I'm like, that's suspicious, right? And that's when I tell myself, I need to go through this phone. Because mind you, it's a new phone. His old phone broke. So this one, I noticed he doesn't have a password on that phone. So then he messages his family and he tells them that he's fine. He's decided to stay with a friend, and he tells them the neighborhood that we're in. And then he switches off his phone again. All right. And I think his dad had sent a message saying, if you don't come home, I'm going to call the police. And I'm like, are you sure you don't just want to go home? And he's like, no, my dad is just being dramatic about it. Switches off his phone again. So I'm like, okay, if you say your dad is not going to do it, then fine. So we spend the rest of the day together. It's now like 8 p.m. at this point. And then, so we have a group for the student accommodation. And I get a message on the group, and someone says, hey guys, the police are outside. They are looking for this guy who traveled yesterday, and apparently he's staying here with a friend or something. His parents are looking for him. They want him to come home. Mind you, the landlord is on this group, and visitors are not allowed. So who is this person who has brought visitors over that are now attracting police? So I see this message, like my heart literally drops, and I show Jonasi. And Jonasi is just as shocked as I am, right? And he's like, are the police actually outside? And we go, and they are actually outside, right? And so eventually they go away, right? And Jonasi starts packing his bags, right? He switches on his phone again and he reaches out to his dad. And the dad is like, I didn't know what else to do. You were not answering my phone. And I was worried. So I called the police. So the dad is like, come home. We'll go to the police station and we'll sort everything out. So Jonasi left my place and he went back home with his dad. And I had an exam in a few days to prepare for. So, I just decided, okay, let me put this all behind me. Let me try and focus on this exam that I have coming up. And as I'm preparing for this exam, Jonasi is not talking to me anymore, which I found very confusing because I thought he came to me first because because he felt safe or something with me. Just it didn't make sense how now you're no longer talking to the person that you ran to, And I remember, because Jonasi became my alarm at some point, like he would wake me up in the morning. I remember I asked him, like, can you please call me when you wake up so that I can prepare for this exam that I have coming up. He ignored that message and he didn't talk to me the whole day. And I went to go and write my exam. He didn't even wish me luck or anything, but he knew about this exam. And it was a 3-hour exam. I come out of it. I didn't even see any message from this person. I've been offline for 3 hours. I would think that, the person that I'm talking to would at least notice that or even at least say, good luck on your test. So I'm walking home and, I'm feeling very sad about the whole situation. And when I get home, Jonasi calls me and he's asking me like, what are you doing? And I told him like, I just got home. I was writing an exam. And he was like, oh, how did it go? And I didn't really want to talk about it because, like, why do you care now?
Yeah.
And so then Jonasi asks if he can come over. And I'm telling him, I'm feeling very tired. Like, I pulled an all-nighter for this exam. I want to sleep. And he's like, no, like, I won't keep you up, right? So I allow him to come over. And I remember I expressed to him that, like, I'm ovulating, so I don't want to do anything. Because I'm very fertile, And Jonasi, being Jonasi, said the same thing. I'm still going to touch you. I'm still going to kiss you. It's up to you to be the responsible one. And sure enough, he did start kissing me and we started making out. One thing led to another. We ended up having unprotected sex again. And he didn't pull out. So I remember I went to take a shower after that and I'm like very stressed. And I'm trying to figure out, like, should I get a plan B? Because I don't have money for a plan B. Like, what am I going to do? And I remember I told Jonasi about it, like, I need to get a plan B as soon as possible. And he tells me that he doesn't have money for it. And so I was like, okay. I got into bed because he was in bed and he fell asleep, right? And then I noticed his phone. So I grabbed his phone and I turned the other way so that he doesn't see that I'm on his phone. I unlock it, right?
Mm.
And I go to WhatsApp and I'm seeing a lot of chats with different girls. And I go to Lindani because remember, I saw a lot of missed calls from Lindani. And initially, I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's a friend or something because going through the chat, she seems to know about what happened on the farm with his dad, right? His stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm seeing, remember that morning when I asked Jonasi to wake me up?
Yeah.
When I asked him to wake me up early in the morning?
Yeah.
That he texted Lindani that morning.
Mm-mm.
And he said, I just woke up to flashbacks about us. I miss coming inside you.
Mm-mm.
And Lindani responds with, honestly, that was the best sex I've ever had. And then I'm gonna have sex in a while, something like that. And I'm seeing Lindani has been sending like view once photos, videos, and by Jonasi's responses, I can tell that these are nudes, right? And they've been talking for a very long time, Tinto, and I'm noticing that the times when Jonasi was not talking to me, he was calling Lindani. And they're very involved at this point because they're even planning vacations and everything. And then I'm seeing videos of Lindani on the farm.
Yo.
So now I'm realizing that she was at the braai because there's footage of her cooking for him. And oh, there's footage of her cooking for him. And then I noticed that. So I'm going through the phone and I went to the boys' group chat. There's a video of Lindani asleep in Jonasi's hoodie. And he sent it to the boys' group chat and to Lindani's best friend because he was also in contact with the best friend. And so he's basically bragging about how the sex that he had with Lindani has knocked her out because she was sleeping. So he was like, I took care of her, what, right? And there's still other chats with other girls that he's been talking to.
Yo.
And then I go to the dating app now. And I'm seeing all the different girls that he's been talking to. And there's a girl that he texted when he landed in my city before he came to see me. And he texted her and he was like, I just landed in your city. When can I see you? So I'm going through everything because if I'm going to confront this person, I need to know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then there were like voice notes that I wanted to play, but his phone was connected to my speaker. So I got up, right, to switch off the speaker, and then it made a noise that woke Jonasi up. So I put the phone, I tried to hide the phone, right? And Jonasi's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And I get into bed and I'm like, shivering, right?
Yeah.
So Jonasi's like trying to cuddle me and keep me warm. And he's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, no, I'm just cold. But then, like, I wasn't shivering, Tinto, like, I was actually shaking physically. And then I started having a panic attack. I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I started crying hysterically. And, Jonasi's holding me and, like, he's trying to understand, like, what's going on. And in that moment, like, I just felt so heartbroken. Like, I knew it. Like, my intuition was right. My friends were right. I haven't spoken to God in such a long time. And look where I have landed up. Like, this man has hurt me. And I was just hysterical, And Chonasi's trying to understand what's going on, like, why are you crying, you know? And eventually I calmed down and I'm trying to figure out how am I going to tell this person that I went through his phone.
Yeah.
And I try and lie and tell him, no, I just had a bad dream.
This was your turn for a white lie now.
Oh, but I'm such a terrible liar, Shim. I'm such a terrible liar. Because as I was crying, Jonasi was putting the pieces together. He noticed that his phone isn't where he left it. So he figured that I probably went through his phone. And so now he's consistently asking me why I'm crying because he wants to get the truth out of me. And so eventually I tell him, like, look, I'm sorry that I invaded your privacy, but I went through your phone and I know that you slept with someone else. And he didn't say anything. He just asked me, like, what did you see? And, you know, I'm telling him I saw the videos and everything, that she was on the farm. And, you know, I was like, so is that why your stepdad was so upset with you? And he's like, yes, that's why. And like, in that moment, Jonasi proceeded to kiss me and initiate sex. So we did have sex in that moment. And I remember I went to the bathroom afterwards and I'm really just struggling to process everything that's going on. And I get back into the room and Jonasi's like, do you want me to go? And I tell him, you know what? I just want to sleep, honestly. I feel like this is a nightmare. And I just, you know, I hope if I wake up tomorrow, this is just a bad dream. And so we went to sleep and Jonasi woke up earlier than me. And he woke me up. And he starts to make jokes about the panic attack that I had. And I didn't know how to feel about that. I didn't say anything in the moment. But then he told me that he wants to go for a walk, right? So I give him my keys and he goes and he takes a walk around the neighborhood. And then I proceed to call my best friend, right? And mind you, my best friend doesn't know. She's under the assumption that me and Jonasi are not talking. So I call her and I start crying. And obviously, she's concerned. She's like, what's going on? What happened? And so eventually I calmed down and I basically explained everything that happened. I explained that I went through his phone and this is what I saw. And she's obviously very upset. And she's like, when he comes back, you need to tell him to leave. And she was like, actually, I want you to stay on the phone with me. And she actually wanted to confront him. But then I was like, no, let me at least try and handle this situation on my own. I don't want you involved, right? And so Jonasi comes back from his walk. I've calmed down a bit. And then I start crying as soon as I see him. And so he's like, what's going on? And I just basically tell him, like, what I saw, it hurt my feelings. Like, it hurt because I love you, right? And this is just, it's really hard for me. And I guess for him, it was like a moment of, I told you so, though. Like, I told you that I want to do polyamory. I told you that I'm on these dating apps.
Yeah.
So I guess for him, he wasn't as sympathetic about the whole situation. And then he asked me, like, what do you want to do? I told him that I need to go and get a plan B. And once again, he told me that he doesn't have money. Mind you, when I went through his phone, I noticed that he sent 700 Rand to Lindani for alcohol. right? Because Lintani bought the alcohol before she went to the bride. And now I'm asking this guy for money for a plan B, and he's telling me that he doesn't have it.
So he's got money for what matters to him.
Mm.
Mm.
So I told him, okay, you know what, look, I'm gonna go take a shower and then I am gonna go and get this plan B. I remember I asked my dad for money.
Yo.
I had to lie to my dad.
Mm.
I told him I'm going out for lunch with my friends. Can I please have a bit of money? And my dad did send me some money. So I went to take my shower, I got ready, and when I came back from my shower, Jonasi was sleeping on my bed. So in that moment, I decided to block him on everything. And then I grabbed his phone, I deleted my number, I deleted everything because I didn't want a situation where he tries to reach out, right?
Mm.
So then I wake him up and I tell him that I want to go to the pharmacy now. And so he orders his Uber and he leaves. So I go to the pharmacy, I get my plan B, and I come back home. And mind you, this is in the middle of exam season.
Mm.
I've got 3 more exams waiting for me.
Mm.
And at this point, like I started opening up to my friends about what happened. And, you know, I was preparing for exams, for my next exam, and I started to develop a yeast infection.
Yo.
So now I'm very stressed because person had sex with Lindani on the farm and then he came to see me. We had sex together, right?
Mm.
So I go to the clinic, right? They give me some antibiotics and I take a few tests. Luckily, I didn't catch anything. It was just a yeast infection.
Mm-hmm.
So it did go away. And then I got through my exams. And then I remember I unblocked Jonasi. And I really gave him a piece of my mind. And I told him, like, you lied to me again. You know, you put my health at risk again. I got a yeast infection in the middle of exam season. And I've had to deal with the heartbreak that you've put me through. Like, do you realize that how inconsiderate you have been, you know? And all he had to say to that was, honestly, I'm really sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I blocked him again.
Mm-hmm.
And I passed my exams by the grace of God.
Thank goodness. Mm-hmm.
And I went home for the holidays. I spent time with my family. And so I was really just trying to move on and put that whole situation behind me.
Mm.
But Nura being Nura, so you know when you want the other person to see that you're doing better without them and everything, I basically unblocked him for that.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I posted a TikTok, you know, I had my hair done, makeup, what.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonasi obviously saw the TikTok. He liked it and we started talking again.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's asking me, so I told him that I'm at home. He's asking me how everything has been at home. And I'm telling him that I'm coming back to school soon. And then he offers to like pick me up from the airport. And he's like, we can even go to your groceries together and whatnot. And I was like, let me think about it. And then I said, okay, you know what? You can pick me up from the airport. We can spend time together, but you're not sleeping over at my place.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, fine. We won't. So he comes to pick me up from the airport. We go and do my groceries together. And we get back to my place. He helps me to unpack and everything. And I had school the following day. So by the time we're done unpacking, it's very late. And Jonasi slept over.
Okay, so hey, you know, the more I think about what is happening here in Nura and how much time we have, and it doesn't sound like this was the last time you slept over. It's only fair that I make this a 2-part. Yeah, you know, just given the trend and how things are going. So I'm going to pause it there and allow us to have a little more time to pick this up as a 2-part. So for all of those who've made it to this part of the episode, thank you so much. But I will catch you in the next episode dropping next week. Peace.
Tell me what you're feeling.
Satis on Daro Raini and Chagezai.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Satis on Daro Raini and Chagezai.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motoru noto kujiziru amai.
Kujiziru amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motoru noto kujiziru amai.